Well, hi, welcome again. This is Mike, and there are two huge and very fascinating and inspiring subjects I want to talk in the next two videos, starting from now. One of them is to do with biases, and the other one is to do with immunity. But let's talk about biases first, and as you know, and I'm saying it again and again, our life is an energy thing. We are energetic, and even what is physical appears to be physical is energy. And as you know, all is about frequency and tuning. So in nature, in natural, we are universal beings on this planet, and our relationship with the universe should be very good, warm, loving, and daily. Daily 24/7. We should be, you know, representatives of something bigger here and doing some kind of a great job for it because we're part of it. This is why we were born. We are not disconnected. It's something very big, loving, enriching, generous in a way that is unbelievable. And so we need to be in receipt for this because we are living in a body, in a three-dimensional world, which is quite limited in its senses. Yeah, in its senses, in these physical, basic senses like sight, sounds, smell, taste, feeling on the skin. But we have also higher systems in our body that have sensitivity beyond even imagination. I mean, if I would tell you that a human being can spot a fly in the height of 3 miles, you wouldn't believe it. But human being can do that. I've seen one that done it. Not by seeing the fly, but by seeing this person, this individual, doing things which are unbelievable energetically. So we need to be in a receiving point, a receiving state, clean conduits. Actually, we can and should, if we are in a changing times, that all this humanity need to shift to a higher consciousness that should, not might, start in the fifth dimension, not in the third. The body is is a third dimensional, but the consciousness, the frequency that we need to be connected is much higher. This is natural. This should have been. But now it's becoming compulsory because of the time. I'm not going to open too much about the time, but I want to speak about biases, okay? Because biases are the filters and the way that reality in all levels are being blurred or becoming not what it is. So let's speak about what stops us from being a clean conduit, because every bias will determine the way we see reality. And the number of biases is enormous. I'm just going to mention by flow, okay? Few of them, but there are only few. Every one of us need to make a long list, at least 50 items of bias. Now, it's a lifetime work, okay? It's true that we need to, by feeling, come to some kind of unity with the higher consciousness, which means basically love, compassion, and empathy and acceptance. And then, first of all, we need to apply it to ourselves, right? Love, empathy, and acceptance, including all. But then we want to become more scientific. We want to become more exact. You see, the fact I can now open my mouth and say something and it will be connected, it depended upon my biases, and I have many. I have a long way to go, like everyone. But I put myself long time ago in a situation of receiving, and I get instructions. Hey, Mr. Mike, you are biased by that. You are biased by that, and what is coming from above? It's like a big eye in the sky, but a real one, a loving one. It says, "Can you clear this bias because it disturbs you from listening to what I'm saying or to understand what I'm saying?" So it's come consciously from the unconscious, this recognition that there is a bias. Now I'm going to mention now, for example, the fact that you are a man or a lady, the country that you were born, because every country has got a different emanation. Okay, we're becoming scientific. The parents that you were born to, the education that you got at school and at home, the food that you eat governs your perception. Believe it or not, if you eat healthy food, it will give you better perception. Love is a great bias. I mean, fall in love, the world is becoming a very, very like pink, everything looks great, even though those things that doesn't look so great, or warning for a person, beware, it's not so pink here. So it's pinky, and for example, if you are a person that is emotional or mental, or maybe you look at things in a science way, and all these are biases. Okay, now I used to say a person should be able in many things, and I used to say it until now. I mean, if you are a scientist, then you need to learn to use your heart. If you are emotional, you need to work with your mind. If you know to speak, you need to know also to dance. If you are having a fear, and we're getting to a big bias of singing, it's a bias. So sometimes we need to go and to do things that are difficult for us just to open the channel. This is why in grade schools that we have very few today upon this planet, they allow an open range to the little boy or girl to experience itself. Then slowly through all the channel, they will get into their specific geniency. Your friends are biasing you. If you go with the wrong kind of friends, they will bias you. What else? There's so many. I mean, fear is a great bias. I mean, if we are living in fear, anxiety, or worries, we turn to be worries. This is painting our life with these things, and it's a great blurring thing because, for example, anxiety, worry is not part of the natural human behavior. And so there are so many biases. Even the clothes you're wearing bias you. The fact of your age bias you, because if you are young, you will see the world in a different way than an old person. This is why the King Solomon wrote the books he wrote, each time in a different age, because the wisdom came later. And the energy of beginning and passion was in the beginning. Doesn't mean that in old age we need to not to have passion, but it's becoming part of a bigger things because we grow. So biases are those kind of frequencies in our life that will paint our reality. Yeah. The fact that we have a nation is a bias. The fact that we are, if we serve in the army, we are soldiers, it's biases. If our job biases us, okay? If we are policemen, we need to be careful not to go home with this policeman, because it's only a coloring of some kind of a duty sometimes, but not in life. In the same way that I was doing all the time, I was working, and then before I was coming home, I was making few rounds and clearing myself from everything I do at work, in my job, and get home, clean of it. I don't want to bring the problems of my job into the house. And this is why when we're working, it's better for us to make a specific working place if we work from home, not to mix things. Sometimes when we mix things, we can't work so well, and we can function at home so well. And so on and so on and so on. It's everything that you mention is a bias. Your genetic code is a bias. What you're learning is your education is a bias. The fact that you know many things or you learn many things opens the space to you, but it also biases you, because if you are a doctor and you adopt the doctor way, you don't want to use the doctor way when you come to love affairs, because what doctor way needs to do with love affairs, for example. And if I speak about biases, why should I now, be disturbed by my bank account? But these all things happen. So the way to deal with it is a work. Yeah, it's a work. We need to be conscious about it and always choose. Because if we know that, for example, we are in love, the one thing that people sometimes forget is themselves in it. For example, okay? So if you love someone, you have first of all to love yourself, at least the way you love another, because if not, you are getting lost in it. You become dependent upon it, okay? If you, for example, not working and you depend upon other people's money, you become biased by it. So everything is a bias. We just need to be conscious about it, to know it. And slowly, by consciousness, we can understand. One of the most amazing things that I had a great teacher. He's still my teacher now, although he's not alive. And he said once, when you think about other people's problem, duplicate it by 2. If you think about your problems, reduce it by 2. You get more balanced, okay? Because we tend to think our problems is the greatest problems in the world, which is absolutely not true. Yeah. So there are things to do to balance it. If you look at the world in a Moni way, we need to be more serious. Yeah, if we look about more happy, sorry, you get more serious when you're more neurony. You can get buried whilst you're alive, but we don't want to be like that. If we are having a serious view about life, then we need to be a little bit more cheerful, happy, look at it in a child way. And if we have a childly look at life, then maybe we should also see things from a serious point. Or, for example, I'm always jolly light about serious things and very heavy and very conscious about light things, because I know that when I'm light, I tend to not to see. So there are many things. It's a very, very exact word. It's like this Japanese artwork. You take a long time to build this from sand. I mean, dots and pieces until it's ready and you have something that is having one thing in it and it's clean. So ego is an amazing, huge blocker bias. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. What does this mean? Listen more. The fact that we are men, again I'm saying it, is a great bias in the world. And the fact we are lady is a great bias in the world. If we want to go to the universe, we need to have the both views. Because it's only here to play the game, to learn more about life, because we are in a schooling thing. But the school times of the first grade is going to end. We're going to take it seriously, these vibration things and energetic things and tuning things, because it will govern our life from now on. More and more and more powerfully, especially in the state of the world, that bias us non-stop 24/7 in a certain level, but when we come into a different kind of frequency, then we are not biased by it, and everything opens, and we are like children of God in the Garden of Eden, learning and happy, like I do now. Because as I'm telling you and speaking to you, I listen to what I say. So have a great day. Learn about biases, your biases. Make 50 items. Start to watch them. Don't do anything. My recommendation: just watch them, see what is much effective about your life, and try to balance it slowly. Because if you take the 3 main biases of your life and you balance it, all the rest will be just like that. It's to do with the lesson that when you take care of the big thing, the small things are arranged on their own. Get into the heart of the matter. See what is the greatest and the most biggest of your biases. 3 of them. Give it to few months, day by day, you'll see results. Absolutely yes. So I'll end it now because it's becoming long. And see you in the next video. This will be about immunity. This will be a very interesting thing. So don't forget to thumb up if you liked it, and if you find it very interesting, subscribe, and if you find it extremely and absolutely amazingly interesting, pass it to a friend. Because many people should know this. All these things are really great tools for life, to make a better life. So, great heart for you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for coming here. All the best, always. I'm here.